I need to finish this. This is fascinating. I've been enjoying this. The no CGI is just, it's really just invisible CGI. Finally, I'm at part 5 of 5. It is such a good series to watch. I mean, it is so informative. It's just like, yeah, people are lying to you when they say there's no CGI. It's just, they want practical effects. CGI is bad. It's like, no. Just like AI, it's a tool that needs to be used to help out your work, to have your vision completed. I'm all for AI. I'm all for CGI. I'm all for tools that make something better. All for tools that make something better.
This video is sponsored by Double Jump Academy. Do you know that one guy who likes to film things practically in camera for real? No, not that guy. This guy.
I'm always a big believer in trying to do as much sort of practical effects as you can.
I think for JJ, the first priority is let's shoot it practically.
Oh. Yeah, Jar Jar Abrams' career is over. Yeah. Jar Jar just destroyed his own career. The Star Wars destroyed him.
I wanted to shoot everything in camera.
Our goal was to do as much as we could for real.
And we were shooting as much as possible in camera.
For me, capturing things in camera, mostly in camera, is the most fun.
For one thing, you don't do it digitally, you do it real.
And now you go completely out of my way to do, you know, practical effects everywhere.
There are certainly plenty of visual effects in the movie, but I tried to do as many things practically as possible.
One of the things that I try to bring to my films is they're predominantly done for real. And I feel in today's climate that's become an anomaly.
It's not an anomaly when everyone does it, is it?
And when everyone's super,
no one will be.
Look, I'm not here to ridicule any of these people because every single word they said is true. They really do film as much practically as possible, and they should. And no one knows the value of practical filming more than us, the CGI people.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep, they do. They absolutely do. They're again, like I said before, they are the night crew of the media world. They are the ones who, when they're noticed, they're ridiculed, but them being not noticed is the best thing. That means they've done their job right. If anyone's ever worked a night shift, like, you know, like stocking a building or like custodial work, cleaning toilets, you know the best thing that could be said about you is nothing. Is absolutely nothing. That's just praise in and of itself.
you know, don't always do what they're told on set. So it was great to have them. We would use them where we could. And even if we ended up replacing them, we'd have a really good reference of how they moved, how they was lit, how they respond.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to No CGI is Really Just Invisible CGI. This is part 5, and it is going to be wicked. If one person said the Burj Khalifa scene in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol was done entirely for real on location, and another said it was done entirely blue screen, you'd probably agree with the first person because you saw the promos, which proves it's all real. But...
Mr. President, that's not entirely accurate.
Oh, I love his referencing to Independence Day. He did it in the last one. Oh, the dialogue from Independence Day is one of those you can always just say a line from, and if you know the movie, you'll just remember it. You'll just remember it. Like, oh, great film. Great film.
What? Which part?
The blue screen studio part. Final Reckoning just came out, and today we'll look at some Mission Impossible stuff. We'll look at Wicked, and with all the bad CGI out there, we'll take a really good look at how to make good CGI. But first, let's do a quick recap of last year. 2024 was a great year for practical effects. Fede Alvarez teased practical xenomorphs, practical sets, facehuggers, and the spaceship the Corpoland was a gorgeous miniature. Agatha all along had not a green screen in sight.
We used no green screen on this show. This is a show that embraced
Agatha all along. I can't say anything about it. I didn't even bother watching it. I didn't even bother watching it. I mean, let's be honest, who would? Who would? Marvel's destroyed its own franchises.
practical effects.
And people were ecstatic to learn that Lady Death's creepy face was in fact a practical makeup effect and not CGI.
But
Coralie Fachard's absolutely wonderful The Substance confirmed that for gore and horror, there is no substitute for the real thing.
From the start, when I started to write the film, I knew that I needed and wanted to have all the effects being practical and made for real.
But the thing is, any one effects technique, CGI or not, will have certain limitations. So you have to use multiple techniques.
No, not true. My friend, follow your boy Maurice. He watched Agatha all along. And of course, he enjoyed Agatha all along, but he'll never rewatch it. Yeah, I watched Loki. I watched the first season of Loki. I didn't watch the McDonald's ad, which was season 2, because they didn't have enough money to pay the actors. They had to make it about, they had to get an ad placement. Yeah, but yeah, no, everybody stopped watching that stuff. I mean, who watched Ironheart? Who watched Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, or whatever the second one was? It's just, oh yeah, you suffered through that. I didn't even watch Eternals. I went to see Black Falcon Captain America, or whatever it was. Yeah, I went to see that. That was trash. I'm not gonna lie, I did like the Thunderbolts though. I did, because you had Bob. Bob was an amazing character. The Sentinel.
To keep fooling the audience. For instance, in Gremlins, this is just a puppet of the legs. And now they switch puppets. And up comes another puppet that has arms and a head. Or check out how the labyrinth goes from a small worm puppet to an insert shot of a large worm puppet to an optical composite of the large worm puppet. All this shot in Jurassic Park, when they need the Stan Winston animatronic for the close-up. And as soon as it's off-screen, in walks ILM's complete CG dinosaur. None of this is required knowledge. It's okay to just let go of disbelief and pretend it's all real. But movie buffs who want to know this stuff used to know this stuff. Just like they knew that the liquid metal effect on the T-1000 was practical when it appears and CGI when it repairs. Because that stuff used to be in the behind the scenes. But the current focus on practical over CGI has created an entire generation of uninformed movie buffs who think that all the stuff they like is practical and all CGI looks like Marvel.
That's because they haven't been taught to notice. Like, again, I went to film school, so I knew what was good. I hated Avatar when I was a kid. I walked out of the theater feeling like I had the fast food of movies. You go in, you get a spectacle, you get your meal very quickly, and you walk out and you still feel hungry. I felt it was the fast food of the movie industry. I hated it. There was no real substance there. And everyone thought I was crazy. I went to film school and everyone was talking about how that was the greatest film of all time. It inspired them to become a VFX creator, because I audited several courses, because at the school you could just sit down in any class, and it was just like, what's wrong with these retards? That is the film that makes them want to be to get in the industry? No wonder the industry ended up dying, because it was my generation that ended up going to Hollywood after film, and they were trying to recreate Avatar. That stupid movie. That absolutely stupid movie. Sure, it's beautiful, but that's it. So is the Discovery Channel. Go on and learn something actually knowledgeable and see something beautiful at the same time. Put on the Discovery Channel. Don't go watch the freaking Avatar movie. That thing's just movie rot. Yes, the special effects are amazing. Yes, it's amazingly beautiful, but the story is the main component, and I absolutely hated it. I hated it. Yeah, but that's, well, that and the guilds is the other reason why I never actually pursued a career, because you have to pay the guilds in order to be recognized and get your name in credits, because I worked on like Terminator Salvation, I think it was, Planet of the Apes. It was on California Street in San Francisco. Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man. I worked on those films, but my name wasn't in the credits because I was just a grip or an electrician, just doing the random basic work, and I wasn't paying the guilds, so my name wasn't put in. But I was there. It was a great experience, but at the same time, it's just like one of those, oh well. Oh well.
And this is confirmed by the shit they read on Screen Rant. Llewellyn's beast form was created without a shred of CGI, relying on practical effects only. Practical and digital are good at different things, and they collaborate really well. And so every single practical effect we just talked about was also CGI. Alien Romulus had plenty of CGI xenomorphs, CGI spaceship sets, CGI facehuggers, the Corbelan when it was parked on LV-426.
Yeah, nobody cares about the story of
in
Avatar.
Space, the Romulus space station. In fact, all the spaceships in the movie. Even the famously practical Offspring was not free from CGI. Agatha all along didn't have green screens, but they certainly had blue screens.
There's not a green screen in sight.
And completely CGI sets. CGI body doubles. Lady Death's CG skull makeup effect was not so practical, and all sorts of CGI effects.
Every single effect in Agatha will be done practically.
The creepy version of Demi Moore had a CGI body double that they could use to replace the practical suit and makeup when they wanted. The final Monstro creature had a CG body double. They used CGI for Demi Moore's face on the back of Monstro, and some of the practical looking gore was in fact computer simulated gore, and this blob was CGI. You can't look at the behind the scenes of something practical and conclude, oh my god, that wasn't CGI. That's not how this works. That's never how this works. And for one huge CGI production last year, this discourse was so big, it's gonna need its own chapter.
Wicked.
Tulips being as cool as Tom Cruise in an F-18 was not on my bingo card for 2024, but the internet was unambiguous.
Did you know for the movie Wicked, they actually planted 9 million tulips for these scenes?
Did you know that this field in Wicked is actually real and consists of 9 million tulips?
Oh my
gosh. Like they planted over 9 million tulip seeds.
The now famous 9 million...
I swear, shorts, TikToks, you know, the quick and easy feed has done irreversible damage. Because people, their brain is so, they can't watch long form content really anymore, that they get their news, their highlights from the really short clips. And the problem is, a lot of those short clips remove a lot of the context, even my shorts. It's just how it is. And you remove so much of the context that everyone just, oh, of course, it's true. And then someone just repeats the same thing because they saw how well that video did. And then it's so freaking ridiculous. And then everyone believes the lie. Everyone believes the lie.
Million tulips were indeed filmed for real, realized by production designer Nathan Crowley.
This was actually something they did in the Barbie movie as well, where they built the entirety of Barbie World out of real designs.
Funny you should mention Barbie. Just like every single article that praised Barbie Land for not being CGI featured the same blue screen shot with the CGI Barbie Land, every single TikToker who raved about the real tulips all feature this shot.
These flowers are not CGI.
And if you think these tulips are not CGI, there's a word we need to talk about.
You want to be a farmer? Here's a couple of acres.
20 acres is roughly 1,000 by 1,000 feet. That's...
Yeah, that's not a lot. That is absolutely not a lot. Like, I live on 10 acres. I can look across it. There is no way that shot is the whole thing is like, you can look, it's like, oh, there's a lot of fake in the background. Almost looks like a painting or something. But it's like insane. They only had a certain amount of land. Sure, they got some flowers of them skipping through the land, but yeah, then everything else is CGI.
15 football fields or 65 Olympic-sized swimming pools for you sports people. And while this area may be 20 acres, this landscape going miles into the distance is at least 100 times that. The 9 million amazing tulips were great for the foreground in all these close-up running shots, which would be a regular pain in the ass to do with CGI. But even with 20 acres, you are going to run out of tulips. So let's hear what the film's visual effects supervisor Pablo Hellman has to say.
CG tulips were used to supplement 9 million real flowers that were planted 100 miles from the Munchkin Land set location.
The key word here being CG tulips, because Wicked uses CG tulips here, 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 and obviously here.
Basically everything in the background.
To do this practical or CGI, it was always going to be both. Unlike Barbie, who infamously erased the blue screens from the behind the scenes, Wicked proudly shows off everything, And director John Chu was not afraid to talk about it.
All of this didn't just take production design, it took special effects, it took visual effects.
And Nathan Crowley would explain where and why they used CGI.
Here's where CGI and visual effects come in. That's the CGI element. So when you go up here with CGI, I've got a great mixture here of imagery, both real, CGI.
But in a discourse that seems to originate entirely from poorly informed TikTokers.
This might sound crazy, but the Wicked movie hardly used any CGI for any of its sets.
Did you know that the Wicked movie uses practically zero CGI in any of the set design?
The internet was certain that Wicked was a return to old school filmmaking by using very little CGI.
So did you know that the Wicked movie uses next?
Yeah, people who know nothing about the old school filmmaking. They were using special effects back in the day. They were using their mirror magic, you know, to emulate like certain things, like people running towards, like having a train drive towards the camera, just using mirrors to emulate that whole thing. They have been using special effects since the beginning. Since the beginning, camera tricks, like it's just like anyone who's been behind the scenes and watches like the movie magic and how scenes are made, they know the ins and outs of like, oh, this is how they do it here. This is how they do it here. This is the mirror magic type of situation where, you know, you have a mirror in a box, like same thing magicians do. They utilize all that to make films back in the day. And they're just starting to utilize more CGI as well as a tool. And it's like, everyone's like, oh, no, it's practical effects, it's practical effects, it's practical effects. No, everything's real that's happening.
No CGI.
With over 2,000 visual effect shots, Wicked has the same amount of CGI as a Marvel film and used for exactly the same reasons. Cute animals, wise talking animals, dangerous animals, CGI set extensions used as a backdrop for all the sets, CGI cities seen from above, CGI cities seen from the ground, CGI cities seen up close, huge CGI battles, flights over the CGI cities, which also introduced CG body doubles, scenes filmed entirely on blue screen, CGI fire and destruction, CGI vehicles like the train.
They didn't even use CGI for the train.
They used CGI for the train.
A replica of the train was built in CG to accommodate additional photography.
And then all the CGI you would never know, like this complete CGI dance floor.
You might think that this shot from the 2024 Wicked movie was CGI, but it was actually 100% real.
In fact, this screen grab has no CGI in it whatsoever. This is straight out of camera.
My guys, this is what it looked like when they edited Wicked before the visual effects were added. Nothing in this film is straight out of camera. Even the animatronic face has CG eyes by ILM.
Practical sets ended at 25 feet for interiors and 50 feet for exteriors, so every environment needed to be extended.
When people discuss these things online, there's always some compositing isn't CGI or visual effects isn't CGI, as if these things don't count as CGI. So let me show you how it's done. A complete 3D model of Shiz University is built, which is then matched and tracked to the camera of every shot. Then a complete CG version of the shot is rendered out with the CG shiz, CG water, CG reflections of the boats in the water, CG rocks, and the compositor will then combine the CG render with the plate photography. On every set with a blue screen, the gaps are filled in with a 3D CG.
See, that's how you, the thing is, you just have to admit about it. You create it from the ground up, knowing where there's going to be CGI, and they had it in their minds, in the rules, like anything like 20, what did they say, like 20 acres or something out, it's all going to be CGI. Anything past a certain point, like above 20 feet, I think it was, will be CGI. So they just needed to build the model up to 20 feet. Of course, they rendered everything prior. It makes the VFX artist's job so much easier. So much easier. That whole nonsense, fix it in post, is like one of the worst things a CGI artist can ever hear. Fix it in post. That would be so much time and effort.
CGI version of the set. This applies to the field, the cliffs, the train station, the entrance to Shiz as seen from the outside and from the inside, this tower, that tower, and the forest. Because there is not a single scene or location in Wicked that is realized without using CGI for the sets. But with all these stairs, streets, walkways, and bridges, and even an artificial lake, the sets in Wicked are truly massive. And Crowley and his team deserve great credit for building it. So how do you figure out how much to build and how much to CGI? When directors say they insist on shooting this for real and refuse to do that with CGI, I guarantee you behind them is a visual effects supervisor who told them just that. So here are some tips from the visual effects department about how to make good CGI. Number 1, shoot as much as possible for real. The concept is exactly the same as matte paintings.
Yep.
If you film your foreground for real, not only will actors, camera, and light have the best conditions for doing their jobs, the frame gives the CG team perfect reference for the set extensions.
What did I just say?
This here is a zombie short film I directed over a decade ago. And even I shoot as much as possible practical, in camera, for real. And I'm the CGI guy.
Having that interactive element.
I'm the CGI guy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, being a CGI guy, he could direct it perfectly for CGI. Because when you have the actors in frame, you have their shadows casting, you have the cars there, that's less work for you, and you know exactly what you need to create, what you need to render out in post. So you can start working, like the VFX artists can start working on the effects while the film is still being made. They can design the palaces, they can design the trains, they can design the settings, they can design the tulip field, they can design all that as the film is being made. So when the footage is sent to them, they just render them together and have the rig follow the camera as the real shot is implemented, and then they just create a fake rig in the CGI shot to emulate that, to copy it. And then you have it, and then you have to render it out as they are basically superimposed on top of each other.
To then expand out with CG is the key to making something believable. You know, having something in the frame which, like, you've gone out and you've spent time and you have a practical approach to it to then augment.
Number 2, give the CGI a handshake. The Iron Man suit worked best when Robert Downey Jr. acted with the metal pieces, as if they had weight and mass. But when he just waltzes along like this, he's not giving the animators anything to work with. And no matter how good the CGI is, it can't carry the scene alone. Eventually, the Marvel suits went full nano, and this is so weightless and undefined that no matter how good the CGI is, you don't believe that this is really happening.
Nope.
The time suit effect was developed in post, so they had no chance to act with it. It was a whole trend in Hollywood that all transformations should be made with weightless floating dots. And quite frankly, this is just
lazy.
Silly. Even Loki's super silly time jumps in season 2 look more realistic because they got these performances from Tom Hiddleston, so the CG team has something to work with. And that's really what sells this as something that's really happening. Good CGI, first and foremost, takes a good CG artist. When I started 21 years ago, there was no one to teach me, and it took me a full year to do my first show reel. But it doesn't have to take you that long, because you can sign up for Double Jump Academy. Double Jump is the best online education and community for visual effects and CGI.
Nice.
Their workshops are specifically designed to get you up and running in Hollywood effects.
Or you can just download Blender and start messing around with 3D animation yourself.
Explosion workshop from Urban Bradesco.
At least that's what I
I've
use to
always
toy
been
with it.
obsessed with explosions. I started building small rockets with gunpowder engines. And then I discovered I can safely blow shit up with Houdini. Creating the proper shader was always tricky, so I'll show you how
Why
to make one
face
for
reveal
explosions
when?
and for fire.
This workshop uses the state-of-the-art effects tool Houdini
I think that's
and compositing tool Nuke. So you will be fluent
when
in
your
the
boy
actual
Maurice gets married,
industry-standard visual
apparently.
effects software when you're
That's
done.
what she said.
Use this
Her
link
face
in the
reveal will be
description,
when
and
he
for the
gets
next
married.
3 weeks, the promo code
Which will be a
Invisible
while,
CGI 15. You
because
will get
he's not even in a
15% off.
relationship.
And soon you will be so good you can see your shot being passed off as practical by the director. See you out there. Number 3, reference. Reference is what an artist looks at to know what they're making a version of. And in the film industry, it's used for matte paintings, posters like this, posters like that, studio logos, and using an animatronic dinosaur can give you perfect reference for a CGI dinosaur. And if you need to animate an animal that doesn't exist, you're gonna need to pull inspiration from one that does. If your shot is...
Yeah, it's like most people started on Blender. It's fascinating how a lot of people... I think I went from Blender to, what was it? Maya, I believe it was called. Okay. I believe it was called Maya. I purchased it for the class I was auditing in school because I enjoyed visual effects, and I believe that they're very important in film. They're just not something you rely on. They're something you plan for. And yeah, I got Maya for that. It was expensive. Yeah. But I got it. And I enjoyed messing around with it. I remember building my rigs, my models, and all that. It's fun to do. It's fascinating to just do something and learn for yourself. I think I learned more auditing classes than actually taking classes, because I went to classes for like editing and writing. I already did editing because I started YouTube when I was a kid, and I already did writing because I love to write stories. I have several stories that I've written. I'm more of a world builder than really a story constructor. Like, you know, I would need someone to help me out, but yeah, Maya 3D. But yeah, it's always fascinating. It's always fascinating, and I just took those classes that were incredibly easy for me. The writing and everything. But now Blender can do all from layout to modeling to rendering and everything, simulation, animation, rigging. Yeah, it can do a lot. And I think you can pay for a plus version as well. So I've actually been thinking of re-downloading it at some point, but I just want to start creating stuff, and eventually maybe I'll have fun with it. And then there's also AI tools you could use to help you in it. Like you could create something and then have AI help you animate it. There is that as well, which honestly, again, I'm all for someone utilizing AI if they use it as a tool and don't use it as a crutch. Because it should be a tool that helps you create, especially for those who are creative. It would be amazing to help you create. But for non-destructive workflow, Houdini is best. I've never used that one. But I think my brother mentioned he was going to use it. Well, actually, he was planning on using, what was it? Unreal Engine to try and create a game. I did go to class for graphics design, but after the course, I did not know I'm really not interested. I did know I'm not really interested. Yeah. It's one of those things. You have to do it because you want to do it. It's not something that you feel like, you have to, like everything, no matter what job, even if you're like working at a fast food, flipping burgers or whatever, you have to want to do it. Like every job I've ever had, I've loved because I find what I want to do in it. Like even at my government job right now, even though it's exhausting and tiring because I'm on my feet all day, always moving around, driving from location to location to location, I still am happy to do it because I'm driving up the mountain and around, and I always get to see stuff and all that. They're wild, like it's the deer season right now and snowing right now, so I get to see all that. You just have to find the joy in what you're doing. Unreal Engine 5 latest are using used and vertical film production for movies series. Yeah. They're using a lot, and they have a lot of assets there to use too.
Full
so it's
CG,
easier to create.
You don't have a background plate to lean against. So you have to find another way to make your shot look like reality. Except the job of the VFX team is not to mimic reality, because nothing in the movie looks like reality. Night scenes, for instance, are rarely filmed in natural light because it's just too dark. So whenever you see a night scene that looks natural, it's artificial. It's a fake look designed by the director, DOP, and gaffer, or day for night, filmed in broad daylight but underexposed to look like night. So the VFX team needs to know everything about practical filmmaking, particularly how the scene they're working on would have been faked if it had been filmed for real.
Full CG shots, we would talk about, right, if you could have shot this, how would you have lit it? You know, where would your light sources have been? How would you do that? And explaining that to not just me, but the artists who were key in that, it really is the way to do it and to get the best results.
Submarines, for instance, use sonar because there is no visibility
The Hunt
down
for
there.
Red October.
It's pitch black. But just like dogfights in the vacuum of space would be boring without sound, submarine movies would be boring without light. So when you make a CG submarine scene, you're not faking how that would really look, because that would be black. You're faking a dry for wet miniature shoot with artificial smoke and light, because that's what people think a submarine scene looks like. Photos of Saturn's rings were used for reference for the scene in Alien Romulus when the space station crashes into the rings. I like this shot from Jurassic World. It's a cool shot. But I don't buy it. Stunts and special effects are complicated things to shoot. It takes hours just to shoot a single shot. And the only
to plan it right, to get it exactly how you want it. That's why the reliant on CGI is so like the marriage between like a practical and CGI can make a shot so much easier, because you can get a reference and then the CGI artist can make it look how you envision it to look, instead of just creating it CGI or messing up and then just fixing it in post. You need it from the beginning.
They appear continuous once they're put together in the edit. So if we would film the Jurassic World shot practically, the helicopter coming through the dome would be one shot, the crash would be at least 2 shots, then a reaction shot on the dino, and then cut back to the master.
Yep. And it looks more real at that point, because you're switching between like a practical effect to basically a model helicopter, having it explode, and using visual effects to make the explode look more magnificent, having the dinosaur's face light up due to the flames. You know, they see the red light up on their face, and then they run away. I mean, it just looks so much more real. It feels much more fluid than having an entire CGI shot.
Badass shot for sure, but there are just too many things hitting their marks perfectly for me to believe that this was really filmed. Films like Avatar and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes address this by still being filmed and edited, as you would a traditional film, both performance capturing the actors and recreating the camera in 3D. That way your full CG scenes end up as something that could be filmed for real, because they kind of
Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That's the one I worked on. Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
were. Number 4, collaboration and vision. The director has the vision, but the visual effects supervisor has the execution, and the teamwork between these two is key.
Or was it Dawn? It was the one in San Francisco.
From Godzilla something something Kong.
Second
It's
one.
a spare time test shot made by seasoned ILM artists Miriam Ferrer and Miguel Perez-Sanent. And it's a testament to what VFX artists can do when they have a clear vision of the shot and aren't disturbed by an endless list of studio notes or an indecisive director without a clear vision. This is exactly what worked on Godzilla -1. Using a minimal VFX.
It's a 30-minute long video, and I've been pausing and talking a lot, but I am a huge fan of I hate it when it's relied on too much. I've an advocate of saying CGI should not be used as a crutch. It should not be used as a crutch. It should not be the sole source for everything. It should be a marriage. It should be an absolute marriage.
Effects team. The director Takashi Yamasaki was also the visual effects supervisor, and he would sit in the room with the VFX team. This way they could do high-end, complicated blockbuster effects. With a
Godzilla
really fast
-1.
turnaround. Having a conversation in the room about the best ways to solve the shots and what corners to cut and what was working and what wasn't. And this worked so well, they even got a little prize for it.
Godzilla.
All the peak visual effects work in cinema history has a close collaboration between the director and the visual effects crew about how to use technology to tell the story.
Well, the big break for us on The Abyss was having a filmmaker who was willing to take, a sort of substantial sequence and trust that, okay, we're going to do computer graphics for this. We're going to try a kind of relatively new technique that no one had really tried to use in this way before.
Admittedly, many VFX projects today are more like this. A client has 2,000 visual effects shots they need transported from A to B as fast and cheap as possible. And if you find out this is going to take longer, or you're going to need more ships because some of the containers were larger than you thought,
you're going to need a bigger boat.
Sucks to be you, because you have a fixed budget and a fixed deadline. But things aren't all bad. There are still visionary directors out there, great visual effects supervisors, and great CG teams that keep giving us absolutely peak CGI.
They just need to work with
Across
the visual
almost
effects
2,000 shots,
team.
Robbie dynamically interacts with the live action elements and
Better
actors.
man.
When you're changing from pose to pose, every point on the face understands what every other point on the face should be doing.
They took him. The third act of Alien Romulus was assembled from full CG shots.
One of the biggest technical challenges in Alien Romulus was the destruction of the eponymous spaceship during its descent into the rings of planet Alpheus.
Our priorities were making the full CG shots mimic the look of a physical miniature shot. To really bring the aesthetic home, we used shallow depth of field to accentuate the miniature look.
For some directors, the best use of visual effects is to plan every shot in advance, so you know exactly how to shoot it and what it's going to cost, so you don't get any unpleasant surprises. Because coming up with the effect in post is usually a bad idea. But Gareth Edwards filmed the creator much more rock and roll than you normally would.
I wanted to reverse engineer the VFX shots. Instead of designing the film first, I really wanted to go around the world and go on the journey these characters go on.
Edwards knows his tools so well. He knows if he just films as much production value as possible on location, he can add much more production value in post.
Make it easier.
Then edit the movie, and then when we were sure about what the shots were, that's when we designed the world.
And by working with the visual effects team on how to compromise and cut corners.
What happens in a normal movie is, say you've got a futuristic city, what happens is they build the whole city in 3D as for a safety net, and it was like, no safety net. We know it's this shot. We're never going to see it from any other angle.
Just like Godzilla -1, he can get much more from the visual effects budget than a normal blockbuster does.
Shots that would normally take...
Because you're just building that one thing instead of an entire map. You just need to design it from one perspective. In any other perspectives, you don't have to worry about the texture, you don't have to worry about the grading, you don't have to worry about the lighting. You just have to build it from one perspective. That is a perfect marriage between the cinematographer and a VFX.
In a few days.
For further evidence that visual effects and CGI is in great hands in the current generation of filmmakers, look no further than Wes Ball's incredible Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Camera placements across the sequence provide high-resolution liquid simulations as we follow the characters underwater.
At the end of the day, it still is, and always has been, the vision of the director and the teamwork with visual effects that determine the outcome.
The brilliant people in the field, the people like the Jim Camerons and the Steven Spielbergs and now the Peter Jacksons who understand the art of storytelling, use all the tools because it's foolish not to.
And a huge shout out to Wes Ball for giving us a complete no CGI cut of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes so you can see everything that was filmed and everything that was added. I really wish this next franchise would do the same. Tom Cruise's devotion to put himself in dangerous situations, usually only done by professional stuntmen, is awesome. To do this as a leading actor is, to my knowledge, only rivaled by Buster Keaton and Jackie Chan.
Yep.
Like a circus show
Jackie
gone
Chan.
bad, watching stuntmen be in real danger undeniably gives an extra thrill. I grew up on James Bond, which is what taught me to love these awesome people, but the crocodile wrangler for Live and Let Die almost getting eaten doing the stunt? I don't know, is that maybe too dangerous?
Whoa.
How about this?
I'm sorry.
Or this? Or how about this chimney stunt? Wait. Go back.
I love that.
That is a visual effects shot. These two
So well
things
done.
didn't happen at the same time. Sometimes the stunts weren't really dangerous. They just looked dangerous because visual effects gave a helping hand. So, is this movie magic? Or is it cheating? How real and dangerous do you want your stunts? The movie Roar was filmed with actual lions. And actress Melanie Griffith and DOP Jan de Bond got mauled for real. I don't know about you guys, but that's too real for me. I don't need anybody to do that for a movie. But this, on the other hand, is too fake. Industrial Light and Magic have helped the stunts in the Mission Impossible movies look more dangerous since they started the series in 1996.
First one
And
is
this
still
well
the best
documented
one.
in the legendary effects magazine Cinefex, where both industry
Of
professionals
course.
and movie
It's
buffs
Independence
knew to
Day
learn
on the
how movie
cover.
magic happened, which is why I can tell you about this. In this issue, VFX supervisor John Knoll reveals that while Tom Cruise really did climb the outside of the Burj Khalifa in an incredible stunt, when they were in a blue screen studio in Vancouver to film the climactic car scene, they also built a blue screen set to double Burj Khalifa to get a lot of extra shots requested by editor Paul Hirsch. These blue screen shots have never been seen publicly until the film's compositing supervisor Todd Vasiri showed them to the corridor crew. But after Ghost Protocol, something happened. The Cinefix article for Mission 5, Rogue Nation, started with an infamous disclaimer that for the first time in the magazine's 35-year history, they were printing an article with no photos. because the images they received from the studio were flat out falsified and doctored. Because the stunts in Mission Impossible are first and foremost publicity stunts.
Yep.
And it's all about showing how dangerous it was for Tom to make this movie for you.
Yep. Like I remember reading an article about how, he damaged his finger on one of those live stunts he was doing just to build up hype. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with faking that kind. Well, I mean, he's an actor. He lies for a living. But at the same time, it's just like he also respects the art he's making. He's like the last known real actor in Hollywood. It's like him, Keanu Reeves. There might be one or two others, but I know him and Keanu Reeves are like the ones who respect the art they're making. And yeah, he does go far. He does make up, I did this and this and this when he actually doesn't. But maybe he does get injured, but again, they report the injury to the news so that way it builds up hype for the film. Oh, is he going to be able to survive these risky shots in order to make this film?
You can see Tom climbing a mountain, hanging from a mountain.
Never seen anything so dangerous. It looks pretty scary.
John, he was so nervous that I might plummet to my death.
Yeah, people tend to lie sometimes.
Responsible. We realized very quickly that Tom was going to have to be holding his breath for a very long time. This is far and away the most dangerous thing we've ever attempted. Behind the scenes, we were all in absolute terror. But it also is one of the most dangerous sports in the world. The crosswind could put Tom in peril, or it can end in disaster.
You don't open your parachute, you're not going to make it.
And the fact that these scenes start with a real stunt doesn't change the fact that the image in the film often ends up as 80% CGI. And this doesn't align with the marketing.
You can be in a room and try to, particularly these kinds of films, try to draw a picture or a CGI of what things are. We don't do it that way. It's real.
The Halo jump in Fallout was a real high altitude jump. Is this a really cool stunt? Yes. Was it a good way to get the shot to tell the story? No.
You can't just get on the plane and go. You have to spend 20 minutes on the ground breathing pure oxygen so that you don't get decompression sickness. The plane has to climb to 25,000 feet.
All these amazing efforts for this one image. That's it. That's the shot. That's all they got. And you can't see how high we are. We might as well be in low altitude. And then, after Tom poses for his close-up, we turn around into a fully CG thunderstorm. There is no filmmaking reason to do this stunt in actual high altitude, other than to make the promos about how difficult it was.
Halo jump is a sequence Tom and I have been talking about for a number of years. We had to develop a special helmet that is both a prop and a life-saving device.
But the bike jump from Dead Reckoning takes the prize. Once again, my hat is off to Tom for his devotion to a movie stunt. I'm impressed. I would never do something like this, even for his salary. But after driving his bike around on a green screen, the famous shot starts off on Tom so you can see his face as he continues into an environment so CG it might as well have been blue screen, ending on a tiny Tom driving off the cliff. Considering that they already did the jump on the ground, they might as well have replaced that ramp with CG and done a handover to a digital Tom here. Because while Tom may not use flesh and blood stunt doubles, he certainly uses digital stunt doubles. And unlike the Burj Khalifa scene, which had me on the edge of my seat for 5 minutes and had several gags that weren't spoiled in the marketing, all of this insane trouble for this one half CG moment that used all its thunder in the promos and left nothing for the movie. Like a Marvel movie, Mission Impossible uses plenty of full CGI moments and green screen sets with CG backgrounds. Not to mention that in many of the stunts, only the
After the first film, they really just are terrible. I didn't really care for 2. 3, I hate the mystery box trope. I hate how we never knew what that freaking rabbit's foot was. It was so stupid. And then the Dead Reckoning, or is it Final Reckoning or whatever, they're like, oh, this is actually the rabbit's foot you were doing. This is actually what it is. And it was just like, okay, now you're just trying to retcon that stupid film to make it relevant because some people like that stupid film. Again, the first one is the best one, hands down. Hands down. They were going for a more simpler story. You're breaking into Langley, the CIA office, in order to steal the actual files to sell it to Max. And yes, they end up bringing Max's children into Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning, and it's just, and then they destroy the entire franchise by not even knowing where they're going to go in Final Reckoning. Apparently they had a plan. They scrapped it to do something completely different because apparently Tom Cruise's character, Ethan Hunt, was supposed to have an origin story where he was convicted for a crime he didn't do, and then they go nowhere with that. They do nothing with that. It was so freaking ridiculous. Viewing these Mission Impossibles, the Bollywood thought that Bollywood thought to make it make the War and Tiger series of files. Yeah. I mean, again, I didn't even finish Tiger. I didn't even finish the Ek the Tiger, the first one. It was so stupid. It was so stupid. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for it. It just, again, Salman Khan, I don't care for him as an actor. I really don't. Never been a fan of his. For me, it just seems like he's doing the same thing the majority of the time. There was only one film I liked him in because he was playing a character I hated. So I was like, okay, I can believe this. It was him, Ajay Devgan, and some female actress who got married to Devgan but loves Salman Khan because it was stupid. It was stupid. But Ajay Devgan was like a committed husband. It was like, I'll give you what you want because you're my wife. Yeah, it was insane. It was insane. But yeah. I mean, yeah, I haven't seen War. I wanted to see the first War film, but yeah. Other than that, yeah, they're creating franchises to make. Do the Marvel, do the Mission Impossibles, do the cinematic universes that end up just not being that interesting. They really don't.
Actors remain, and everything else in the frame is CGI, leaving them as real as the Toontown sequence in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Mind the steps, sir.
And with the train crash in Dead Reckoning, you may ask yourself, why did they even bother using a real train when 95% of the shot ends up as CGI anyway? And the answer is, of course, that by restricting yourself in editing to only use shots that were filmed for real, you're forcing the final shot to be something that could be filmed for real. Maintaining the narrative that in Mission Impossible, everything is dangerous.
Yeah, the Durander's coming out the end of this month, so most likely I'll be watching it on Kick and Twitch. Yeah, and then I'll upload it to, my Patreon, because I won't be able to upload it, and I'm still trying to figure out the Patreon stuff. I'm still trying to figure that out. I haven't figured it out yet. I looked it up, and I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. And I've spent too long staring at it, trying to figure it out.
The only thing that scares me more is what we have planned for Mission 8.
The set pieces in Final Reckoning were amazing. Tom was underwater.
Shooting underwater, there's always a sense of danger.
He was climbing airplanes.
You can't imagine how physically punishing it was for Tom to be on the wing.
And maybe one day we'll learn how much of that was blue screen and CGI, and maybe never. Stunts are awesome, stunt people are badass, and I am happy we're finally getting a stunt Oscar. But when filming it for real means you take this element and place it in a complete CG scene, maybe tone down how much you didn't use CGI. If you want to know more about movie effects, Cinefix magazine sadly died during COVID, but there are several online magazines that can give you the insider scoops that the studios are not telling you. And befores and afters even have a print issue, just like Cinefix. So get them before they become collector's items.
Oh my gosh, this is such a fast. The thing is, I hope he does one every year. If he does a breakdown every year, like if he came out with a new episode this year of all the CGI utilized in 2025, that would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like it could be named something different, or just like stop lying about no CGI 2025. Stop lying about no CGI, like something like that. More of a clickbaity, what is it called? What is the title called? Where you kind of want to click on it because it just kind of clicks with you. It's not a clickbaity. That's one of the image is normally considered clickbaity. But yeah, I really like that. Thank you, Ajay, for recommending that one. That was actually really good. That was really good.
guys got a video? It was so bad.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait on that.